Let's listen to the verse number 7.
وَإِذْ يَعِدُكُمُ اللَّهُ إِحْدَى الطَّائِفَتَيْنِ أَنَّهَا لَكُمْ وَتَوَدُّونَ أَنَّ غَيْرَ ذَاتِ الشَّوْكَةِ تَكُونُ لَكُمْ وَيُرِيدُ اللَّهُ أَن يُحِقَّ الْحَقَّ بِكَلِمَاتِهِ وَيَقْطَعَ دَابِرَ الْكَافِرِينَ.
And recall when Allah was promising you that one of the two groups would become yours, and you were wishing that the one without strength should fall to you. And Allah wanted to establish the truth through His words and to cut off the very root of the disbelievers.
لِيُحِقَّ الْحَقَّ وَيُبْطِلَ الْبَاطِلَ وَلَوْ كَرِهَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ.
So that He proves the truth to be true and the falsehood to be false, even though the sinners might dislike it.
إِذْ تَسْتَغِيثُونَ رَبَّكُمْ فَاسْتَجَابَ لَكُمْ أَنِّي مُمِدُّكُمْ بِأَلْفٍ مِّنَ الْمَلَائِكَةِ مُرْدِفِينَ وَمَا جَعَلَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَّا بُشْرَى وَلِتَطْمَئِنَّ بِهِ قُلُوبُكُمْ وَمَا النَّصْرُ إِلَّا مِنْ عِندِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَزِيزٌ حَكِيمٌ.
When you were calling your Lord for help, so He responded to you, saying, I am going to support you with 1,000 of the angels, one following the other, and Allah has made it, the promise, merely to give you a good news, and so that your hearts might be at rest thereby. And the help is from none but Allah. Surely, Allah is mighty, wise.
إِذْ يُغَشِّيكُمُ النُّعَاسَ أَمَنَةً مِّنْهُ وَيُنَزِّلُ عَلَيْكُم مِّنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً لِّيُطَهِّرَكُم بِهِ وَيُذْهِبَ عَنكُمْ رِجْزَ الشَّيْطَانِ وَلِيَرْبِطَ على قلوبكم ويثبت به الأقدام.
When He covered you with drowsiness, as tranquility, descending from Him and sent down upon you water from the heavens, so that He might purify you with it, and remove from you the impurity of Satan, and so that He might strengthen your hearts and make your feet firm therewith.
So, verse number 5 onwards, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing the situation here, that the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought you out from your home with this for the sake of the truth. And initially the intention was to stop the caravan, and there were two groups came in for the disbeliever, one from Mecca and one from northern side, which was the caravan. And the Prophet was coming from Medina, which is in between these two directions. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing this situation that so they were disputing with you about the truth after it has become clear that they were being driven to death and seeing the death by themselves. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing that the sum of the companion, they were believers. They saw that it is obvious no match between 1,000 well-equipped soldiers and the Muslims, who were only 8 swords and I think 6 or 7 horses, and rest are barefoot with their sticks in their hand to fight. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with His miracle and mercy, turned those stick into sword-like situation, and angels start descending from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help the Prophet. It has been described that Prophet, when he came across this, there was a water well in the Badr where the disbeliever especially took over position and stopped Muslim from having water access. And accordingly, that was a little softer land. And something happened is that the next morning when the battle started, rain fell, and that made the Muslims were on a little bit on the elevation, and that was more rocky area. not much soft land. So the water went down towards them, and that became more like a muddy area and slippery, so they could not stand firm on their feet. And what Muslim did is that they made a little pools and puddles, and they saved the water, and they used that water for their benefit. So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destabilized their feet and their situation where they were. As it says, and Allah and recall when Allah was promising you that you're one of the two groups, as I mentioned, two groups were coming. One of the two groups will be yours, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to give you strength, because if it was for the wealth that you wanted, the easy access, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to give you the hard group. Why? Because if they are defeated, then the Meccan, the disbeliever, would know that Muslims are not any more disposable community. They are a strength at that time. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing inna ghayra zat ash-shawkati takuna lakum wa yuridu Allah an yuhaqqa al-haqqa bi kalimati wa yaqta'a dabir al-kafirin. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying Allah wanted to uproot or remove the foundation or the strength of the disbeliever by bringing them in front of you and helping you with the angels fighting for you. ليحق الحق والباطل ويبطل الباطل وكاره المجرمون. So Allah wanted to prove that the truth is to be true and the falsehood to be false, even though the sinner might dislike it. We can see the example of simple situation as we see Afghanistan was invaded by entire USSR, and they were the one country without any Air Force, Navy, and Army, even though they suffered enormously, but they were martyrs who died in the battlefield or in the homes by the invasion of the Russian in Afghanistan. And today we see Russia is destroyed. It has been no more that superpower, and it is broken down into so many states of Eastern Europe. And now we also see the United States and the coalition, which also fell apart. They were there for the longest time of army, and they retreated defeated, because they are the believers who stood fast and defended their land. And this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows the victory, no matter how much superpower one can be. When the Musa alayhi salam was very weak, and then the Pharaoh came with his army, Allah drowned the army. When Allah wants, Allah can put anybody to defeat, and when Allah wants. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and then He had made it a promisely to give you a good news so that your heart will be strengthened, so that He made them appear smaller than they were. And then there was one special feeling happened to the Muslims before starting of the battle, that they felt a little bit sleepy and drowsy, and there was a tranquility was sent upon them. And after that, they gathered their energy and they woke up and they fought valiantly and they defeated the disbeliever. So this is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's, this happened with the Muslims whenever they are finished with the fighting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put a kind of tranquility upon them. That is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's listen to the verse number 12.